Hi there, interghost here, and this is the March update video for 2019. Sorry it's a little bit later in the month, but I've been busy the last few weeks. But here are a few bits and pieces I've been picking up over the last couple of weeks.
Interghost is at the caboose. He's picking out games to show to you. He really likes to play on his Wii U. And if you think you've got a high score, well, that's what Retro Records is for. His XCOM team aren't living anymore. Him and all the dudes are singing out of tune. It's your friendly YouTube host, Interghost.
I'd like to start first with a couple of books I've been reading. Now these are a few books which I've had for a little while, but I've just got into them recently. And the first one is by Terry Pratchett and Stephen Baxter. They've worked together on these, and it's The Long Earth, which is the first in a series of books. And unfortunately, I'm about 3/4 of the way through the book, and I'm really struggling to finish this one, which is a real shame because I really love Terry Pratchett and his Discworld series and other books that he's written. But this one doesn't really feel like a Terry Pratchett book. The humour's missing really. It feels more like it's written by the other guy and he might have had a little bit of input into it. I guess it's because this is the last series of books that he wrote before he died, I think. And obviously he was in the late stages of dementia at the time, and so I doubt he was doing much of the writing, and unfortunately it does show. Interesting idea of there being parallel Earths in different universes, but the characters are just a bit poor in that book, so I'll try and finish it, but it's not that great. And the second one is a book that my brother Ross brought me, and it was for Christmas, and it is Norse Mythology by Neil Gaiman, and about halfway through this one now. And basically it's a retelling of all the Norse gods and fairy tale type stories. I compare it a bit to the Grimm's fairy tales, and it's got all like the well-known names from sort of like superheroes, you know, like Thor, Odin, Loki, but it's the origins of the real Norse gods. And the stories are quite funny. They sort of go off in weird tangents and they end really abruptly and they don't really make much sense, but it's quite fun to actually find out the history of the Norse gods. So quite a good read, that one. Next is a few DVDs that I've got recently. Now DVDs are pretty much being given away these days, so it's always nice to pick up a couple of movies maybe you've not seen for a long time or you've never seen before. You can pick them up for like 20p, 50p these days, and it's just crazy. So yeah, I pick them up every so often and just have a look. Now this first one is one I got because my son Jack had watched the remake of this at Christmas, and it was Watership Down. Classic movie, probably all seen this one. They re-released one at Christmas which has been redone with computer animation, and I didn't really think it did justice to the original or to the book, and Jack really liked that one, so I said we'll get the original one and see what you think about that. He watched it, he liked it, but strangely he finds the new one better, so I think that just goes to prove that nostalgia probably works a lot in these movies. I used to watch this every Christmas, so you know, you just grow to love these things. And also the way that they're making TV shows, movies nowadays, they're aimed at the new generation, so I can see why he would probably like the new version. But Watership Down, you've probably all seen that one, classic movie. Second one is a DVD. Again, this is one that my brother let me have. He let me borrow it first of all, and it's Let the Right One In. And yeah, he let me borrow it, I've watched it, it's now one of my favourite horror movies of all time, and he said I could have it, so thanks so much Ross for that. It's a horror movie, so it's got subtitles, but to me that doesn't really matter. The story's really good, the look and feel of the movie is great, and I don't really want to say too much about it. If you've not seen it, watch it without watching any reviews, reading anything about it. Just go into it knowing it is sort of like a horror type movie, and you're going to really like it. So yeah, I'm not going to say too much about that one, but Let the Right One In, brilliant film. This one I got from the charity shop for 50p, I think it was. Halloween 2, the original by John Carpenter. The reason I got this one is because recently I saw the, what was it? Was it the 40th anniversary of the first Halloween movie? And I've never seen that before, and it was quite a good laugh. It was a good movie, and so I want to see the sequel. Never seen this one either. It follows on directly to the first movie, so it literally recaps on what happened in the first movie and then follows on with the same Jamie Lee Curtis character and Mike Myers chasing her through she gets taken to hospital, and then he comes in, kills all the nurses and doctors and all sorts, and it carries on from there. I actually enjoyed this one better than the original one. It's got a much gorier and higher body count than the first, and there's some laughable bits in it, but I think those 70s sort of horror films, that's the charm of them, that you can find them funny as well as scary. And yeah, if you've not watched that one, if you've seen the original, then this is a good sequel, and it follows directly on, so well worth a watch. Finally, I'm not going to talk about this one too much, but this one is From Russia with Love, James Bond. Again, because DVDs are so cheap at the moment, I'm slowly picking up all the James Bond movies. They're the type of movie you can stick on a Sunday and you can watch. They're about 2 hours long, and they're just good fun, full of action and cheesy, and you know, just really good, easy watching. So I'm picking these up as and when I see them for cheap. Again, this was 50p, and I'm going to collect up all the 007 films. I've got about half of them so far. No rush to get them, but yeah, as they're so cheap, pick them up if you see them. Well worth a watch, and this one is one of my favourite ones, From Russia with Love. So yeah, that's all the DVDs. Next, I've picked up one game, and that was literally today. So I haven't played it yet, and it's Super Bomberman R on the Switch. So the last game I picked up was Skyrim on the Switch, and I'm still playing that one, really good. And another Switch game, yeah, I'm really getting into Nintendo Switch. I probably play that more than any other console at the moment, just because it's so easy to use, because if somebody wants to use the main TV, you can just take the Switch out and play it on a handheld. And yeah, so this one's going to be really good. This is one I can play with the boys, multiplayer, and it's pretty much, from what I've seen on reviews, it's the original Bomberman but more of like a 3D style. And yeah, same multiplayer, 4-player on the screen in the same room, or 8-player online. So yeah, really looking forward to playing a bit of Bomberman, and I got that for £18, which is a really good deal. I'm sure it goes for about 40 second hand, so yeah, really happy with that. And finally, I got a board game slash card game slash VR app game, I suppose, and that is Chronicles of Crime. Now this was a game that I saw the Kickstarter for last year, I think it was, and I was really interested at the time, but I didn't sign up to it. But recently I saw a review somewhere, and yeah, it just piqued my interest again. And basically, I don't know if it shows you on the back, yeah, so you've got like a board, you've got all these different characters here, you've got locations, you've got items, you've got scientists and all sorts of things. And what happens is you download the app and you start a scenario. It just describes a crime, and you put down the people as they arrive at the crime on the board. They got QR codes on the bottom there, and you use the app to scan the QR codes to question different people. Then you could also talk to people and then ask them about items, locations, And also, which is really cool, I've got the expansion set which comes with like little goggles you click onto your phone, and then you can look through the goggles and it's like a VR, you can look around the room. So when you're at a location, you can examine the room. So what happens is you look around, you tell everybody else who's playing the game what you can see, and as you're describing the scene, they're pulling out different cards, clue cards, so that when your time's up, you come off, you scan the cards and see if they're clues. And then you can also ask the people about the clues and yeah, try to solve the crime in as little time as possible and as accurately as possible. So that's Chronicles of Crime. It's not really that expensive. Can't remember off the top of my head, sort of like £30, something like that. And yeah, well worth a play. Comes with about 5 or 6 different scenarios, and there's more you can download for a small price, a couple of quid, and they're making more scenarios now and more expansions for it, so hopefully that will last quite a while. It's one of those games you can pull out and play a scenario every so often with a group of friends, and yeah, it's just good interactive fun game to play as a group. So that's it. A few movies, a game, a board game, and a couple of books. If you want to find out what I think about my books, you can check out my Goodreads page. I'll link it down below. And if you want to hear about what movies I've been watching and what I think of them, you can also follow me on Letterboxd, which is a really good movie review website and app, free to use. So yeah, follow me on that. Thanks for watching, and I will be posting up another video soon, and please remember to thumb up the video and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Cheers. Sneeze again. No, I'm not.